One of the most popular ITX cases on the market today is the FormD T1, and with good reason. Now, although expensive, this compact case coming in at under 10 litres is incredibly flexible, able to adjust its central spine to allow different sized GPUs or CPU coolers. It can take a 240mm AIO or compact air cooler, as well as large graphic cards to make even the most powerful build possible. And despite being sold as a flat pack kit, the build quality is exceptional with high quality materials, leading to a beautiful looking case. Now, there are a few colour choices, but the white looks absolutely stunning and is going to look incredible on my gaming desk. Now, this build has been a while in the making, as we wanted to create an all AMD gaming build. Now, we already managed to get hold of the 9800X3D, the fastest gaming CPU currently available, but we wanted to use the newly launched 9070 XT to stick it to Nvidia for giving us paper launch after paper launch. Using the 9800X3D and the new 9070 XT will be easy to air cool in this case. And lucky for me, I managed to grab an MSRP Power Color Reaper on release day. Now, not only with this card MSRP, but it's also very compact, coming in at only 2 slots thick, making it perfect for ITX builders. As usual, when building in an ITX case, I like to build up the motherboard first, and being an all AMD ITX build, I used my trusty Asus B650E-i, a solid, well-priced ITX board with great performance and features, and as an added bonus, it looks great too. There's also a B850 version of this board now available too, which is almost identical in specs, so buy whichever is cheaper in your region. First things first, I'm going to remove the AMD CPU plastic retention brackets, and then install the new AMD 9800X3D. This CPU is not only incredibly fast for gaming, but it's also very efficient, meaning it's very easy to air cool with a modest air cooler. But before I discuss that, let's install the 2TB P310 SSD. Now, this is a fast Gen 4 SSD that won't break the bank. I usually install either the P310 or the Western Digital SN850X, depending on which is on the best offer when I'm purchasing. Both drives offer a solid performance, great prices, and 5 years of warranty for peace of mind. So with the drive installed and the drive heatsink screwed back in place, it's also time to now install the RAM. Now, usually I buy RGB RAM for my builds, but in this case the RAM's going to be covered by my CPU heatsink, so I can save a few pounds here, and I've decided to buy a fast 6000 MHz 32GB Fury RAM kit. These have excellent CAS timings, perform well at their rated speed simply by enabling Expo in BIOS. As this is just going to be a gaming build, 32GB is plenty enough RAM and pairs well with that 9800X3D. So with that RAM and SSDs installed in place, let's now install that CPU heatsink. And with the FormD being able to set the CPU and GPU chamber sizes, you need to select your graphics card and then see what space is available for your CPU cooler. FormD's website has an excellent guide. You simply select the GPU size and it will tell you the maximum CPU size cooler that you may use. Now, as our GPU is only 2 slots thick, I'm going to allocate 2.25 slots for that GPU chamber and 68mm over to the CPU. 68mm gives me access to the fantastic Thermalright AXP120-X67. This is an amazing performing, well-built, but affordable cooler. It's 67mm in height, giving me just 1mm clearance, and has a slim 120mm fan. Now, this is always going to be a juggling act. I could choose to go for a 2-slot configuration for the GPU and give myself more CPU clearance, but then that GPU is going to have less breathing room. Also, if you do choose a very large GPU and you still need a powerful CPU, you do have the option to put in a 240mm AIO across the top. Now, although I considered this route, with how efficient that the 9800X3D chip is, I wanted to go all air to make an easier build. Fitting the X67 is very straightforward. We just put on the 4 spacers, then screw down the 2 brackets. I add a nice blob of thermal paste and screw down the CPU cooler with just 2 screws. Finally, I attach the fan with the wire clips to the actual heatsink and plug in the 4-pin PWM fan controller, but because I've also chosen the RGB version of this kit, I also need to plug in the RGB header. So with the motherboard built and ready to install, it's time to turn our attention to the T1. This case comes completely flat packed. Now, yes, that does mean building it takes a little bit longer, but it's going to be cheaper for them to ship it this way. And plus, because this case is so flexible, you're probably going to want to build it yourself anyway to customize it to suit your needs. I know that I want a 2.25 slot GPU configuration spacing, so I carefully install the rails and the front and rear to create the actual base of the frame. At this stage, you want to install the PSU cage. And if you follow the instructions from FormD, it does put that PSU cage right up against the back of the graphics card. But with most modern graphics cards, they actually blow the hot air through that rear fan slot out the back of the card, so I wanted to create a space here. Now fortunately FormD give you plenty of spaces in the pack, and I use 4 of my spare spaces to push my PSU forwards towards the side panel, giving myself a large gap behind for the GPU to expel that hot air. And for the PSU in this build, I'm using the Corsair SF1000. The SF range has recently been updated to make them ATX 3.0 compliant. And I love that we've now finally got a 1 kilowatt PSU available in this tiny form factor, especially with how many watts some of these modern graphics cards at the top end are starting to pull. You get a massive range of cables available with this PSU, but as with all tiny builds, just use the cables you require. Don't add in the SATA and Molex cables just in case, as they make it very difficult to cable tidy and restrict airflow later. In my case, I'm just installing the 24-pin and 8-pin CPU cables and the 2 PCIe connectors for the graphics card. But if you choose an NVIDIA card, they do also include the 12 VHP-WR cable with the PSU. So with the cables installed, I'm going to screw the PSU in place, leaving the rest of the cables dangling out of the case until they're needed. Next, I want to insert the motherboard and screw it down with the 4 screws. At this point, I also want to connect the PCIe 4 riser cable and screw that to the rear frame. Then I'm going to flip my case over, grab my graphics card, and this compact Power Color Reaper is going to easily fit in this case. We just screw on the metal bracket to the GPU retention bracket, slide the card into the PCI slot, and screw that bracket into the case. So with all the main components installed, let's connect the power cables to the motherboard and the GPU and tidy away the excess cables. Finally, I want to then just plug in the power button cable and we're almost there. I want to add a couple of case fans to exhaust that hot air out of the top of the case. And because I'm using the white model, I've chosen 2 Corsair AF120 Elites in white. These fans look great and are pretty quiet. I've installed both fans to the fan brackets, carefully wired the fans before seating the bracket into the frame and screwing it down. Now when doing this, make sure you clear the excess cables away from the fan blades. I always like to give the fans a quick spin just to make sure that nothing is snagging in those blades before I screw it all together. Lastly, we install the side panels, the top panel, and screw on the 2 rear screws. Now despite being built from the ground up, it's actually very easy to work with, provided you plan your build in advance and follow the instructions on FormD's website. Here is the T1 on my gaming desk, pride of place next to my trusty Alienware 34-inch OLED, the AW3423DW. That's easy for me to say. This 3440 by 1440 is a challenging resolution for graphics cards. However, firing up some of my favourite first-person shooter games, like the Finals, the 9070 XT cuts through them at native resolution epic settings with no FSR needed. And looking at the temps, and this card is certainly keeping its cool. And for context, although I have the 2 fans exhausting hot air out the top of this case, I am spinning them very slowly to make this system as quiet as possible. Also, the 9800X3D, being an efficient CPU, only needs about 120 watts to fully stretch its legs. And very often, when gaming, it sits about 80 watts, running games at over 5.2 gigahertz. Talking of gaming, the whole system is very quiet when just running day-to-day games, which is what I'm looking for when I've got a case sitting right next to me on my desk. But when I do max out the CPU to 100% CPU load, the fan noise does increase due to the minimal clearance between that CPU heatsink and the side panel. I would have preferred to have had a larger gap to avoid turbulence, but I also wanted the largest CPU cooler that I could fit in this case. Now, although I can hear that fan when I'm actually using the CPU at 100% load, it's still not that loud and it's barely audible when I'm gaming. Though Battlefield 2142, which is very heavy on resources, did get that fan spinning a little bit louder. So there we go, finally I managed to build in the FormD T1. This white model is just stunning, and I know these boutique cases are expensive, but when you get a case that's this customizable, then I think it's certainly justified. You've also got so many build options with a case like this, which is very rare, coming in at under 10 litres, especially with the power you can pack in here. Overall, I am incredibly happy with just how well this build has turned out, especially with how easy it was to build by going for an air-cooled option. Though part of me now wonders how it would perform with a 240mm AIO in here. So let me know if you want to see that version too. And as always, I'd love to know what your thoughts, and if you've got any questions, put them in the comment section down below and I will get back to you. And finally, thanks for watching.